Our video today about southern city in Russia. It's Krasnodar, city and administrative center of Krasnodar Krai territory, southwestern Russia, lying along the Kuban River. Founded about 1793 as a Cossack guard post on the Kuban frontier, it developed as a military town. In 1867, after the Caucasian Wars, it became a city and center of the fertile Kuban region, and its prosperity increased following the arrival of the railways in the 1890s. The city's industries are largely concerned with processing the agricultural products of the region. There are also considerable engineering industries. Petroleum is refined and lubricants are produced. The city has a gridiron pattern of streets densely lined by poplar, acacia, and plane trees. Cultural institutions include Kuban State University, 1920, teaching establishments, pedagogic, medical, agricultural, cultural, and food industry, research institutes for agriculture, tobacco, vegetable fats, canning, and the petroleum industry, and several theaters and museums. Krasnodar Krai territory, southwestern Russia, extending northward from the crest line of the Caucasus Mountains across the plains east of the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov as far as the Gulf of Taganrog. The plains, crossed by the Kuban and other rivers flowing to the Sea of Azov, form two-thirds of the region. Their steppe-grass vegetation on rich soils has been almost entirely plowed under. Widespread salt marshes and lagoons line the Azov coast. The southern third of the region is occupied by the Western Caucasus, which reach 12,434 feet, 3,790 meters, at Mount Sush in the neighboring Karachay-Cherkessia Republic and fall gradually in height westward as they run parallel to the Black Sea, from which they are separated by a narrow coastal plain. The mountain's lower slopes are covered by deciduous. The Krai was established in 1937 with its headquarters at Krasnodar city in an area originally occupied by Kuban Cossacks. The population is overwhelmingly Russian but also includes some Adyghe, Ukrainians, Armenians, Belarusians, and Tatars. The northern plains form a major agricultural region that produces grains, especially winter wheat, and in the south, winter barley. Along the lower Kuban River, much swamp has been reclaimed for rice growing. Industrial crops, notably sunflowers, tobacco, and sugar beets, are important, as are vegetables along the Kuban and fruit and vines on the Caucasus foothills. Large numbers of cattle, pigs, and poultry are kept. Petroleum and natural gas are exploited on the Taman Peninsula and in the north. Novorossiysk and Tuapse are major oil exporting ports. There are oil refineries at Krasnodar and Tuapse and a chemical complex at Belorechynsk. Area 29,300 square miles, 76,000 square kilometers. Higher up are conifers and alpine meadows. Kuban River in southwestern Russia, 563 miles, 906 kilometers in length, and draining 23,600 square miles, 61,000 square kilometers. It rises from glaciers on Mount Elbrus in the Greater Caucasus and flows north through narrow gorges, with many rapids, to the Stavropol upland, where it turns westward in a broad, marshy floodplain to enter the Sea of Azov. Much of its water is diverted for irrigation. The river is navigable to Krasnodar. The Kuban River gave its name to a Cossack group who settled along its northern bank in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. The city originated in 1793 as a military camp, then as a fortress built by the Cossacks to defend imperial borders and to assert Russian dominion over Circassia, a claim which Ottoman Turkey contested. In the first half of the 19th century, Yekaterinodar grew into a busy center of the Kuban Cossacks, gaining official town status in 1867. By 1888, about 45,000 people lived in the city, which had become a vital trade center for southern Russia. In 1897, an obelisk commemorating the 200-year history of the Kuban Cossacks, seen as founded in 1696, was erected in Yekaterinodar. The city was the administrative center of the Yekaterinodarsky Udel of the Kuban Oblast. During the Russian Civil War, 1907 to 1922, the city changed hands several times, coming successively under the control of the Red Army and of the Volunteer Army. Many Kuban Cossacks, as committed anti-Bolsheviks, supported the White Movement. Lavr Kornilov, a white general, captured the city on April 10, 1918, only to be killed a week later when a Bolshevik artillery shell blew up the farmhouse where he had set up his headquarters. During the Soviet famine of 1932-1933, Krasnodar lost over 14% of its population. During World War II, units of the German army occupied Krasnodar between August 9, 1942 and February 12, 1943, as part of Operation Edelweiss. The city sustained heavy damage in the fighting, but was rebuilt and renovated after the war. German forces, including Gestapo and mobile SS execution squads, killed thousands of Jews, communists, and suspected communist partisans. Shooting, hanging, burning, and even gas vans were used. In the summer of 1943, the Soviets began trials, including of their own citizens, for collusion with the Nazis and for participation in war crimes. The first such trial took place at. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.